Hello and welcome to the Grove Portfolio Updates. This is episode 3, and first of all, we'll check how we did this month. So for this month, our rate of return was 2.22%. Nothing crazy, but a pretty solid month. That was December 18th to January 18th, and we'll check how it performed versus different indices. So against the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we slightly outperformed, just about maybe like 1.8%. And the NASDAQ, we outperformed by almost 2%. For the S&P, which is the main competitor that we're going up against in this series, we slightly outperformed about 0.8%. And the Russell, which was performing really well last month, but this month it performed pretty poorly, and we outperformed it by about 5%, it looks like. So performance-wise, the portfolio was pretty good this month. We had about $700 in gains, and it's now up to just about $37,000. So now we're going to take a look at the different positions. We're going to again take a look at the worst performers to the best performers, and I'll give an update on the different stocks and how I see them performing and how my opinions have sort of shifted and what I'm thinking about each one. So the first worst performer is Unity. This one is a very speculative, very sort of volatile stock, and it hasn't been performing too well. It's kind of been up and down recently. I think it might be slightly better than it was last time we checked. I'm not sure, but it hasn't really gone anywhere. It hasn't gone up, it hasn't gone down very much. It's just been all over the place. And I have added a little bit to the stock, but I'm not super bullish, so I'm keeping it as a small position right now. It's down $74. I think that it's a holding that you might want to have if you're into riskier positions, but if not, I would not suggest buying it. But I'm holding on to it, and I am just bullish on Unity being able to have a sort of monopoly over video game creation and being able to control that market and monetize their services. And I'm pretty bullish on just like being able to have like monthly subscriptions and services that are monetized. So that's why I hold Unity. And then we have Moderna, which I talked about this before. It's just sort of a very small position that's kind of held as like a little bit of biotech. This one, I think, might be performing. It's like Unity. I think it might be a little bit better than last month, but it's still down quite a bit. And I'm not in a rush to add to Moderna yet. I'm kind of waiting for it to sort of turn the corner. And if I see it like actually starting to recover in terms of like fundamentals and financials, then I might take a look at adding more to it. But I would have to see like the company's headed in the right direction to actually like commit to buying more of this. So that's why I'm just holding this very small position, because it is very beaten up right now, but it's not a beaten up stock that I'd want to buy because I'm worried about the actual company's fundamentals, and it's not generating like a lot. I don't think it generates free cash flow like positive. So for now, it's just a small hold position. Next we have Fortinet, which is down $22. This one is, it just always seems to be trading down recently. I guess that's a good thing if you want to buy in. Its valuation is getting a lot better. But I don't know, it feels like Fortinet is just a little bit worse version of like Palo Alto or PanW. It kind of is just like the smaller, less successful version of PanW. I have been adding to this because I think that it's beaten up enough where I am really bullish on cybersecurity. And even though it's probably my least favorite cybersecurity company in this portfolio, but it still is a cybersecurity company and its valuation's gotten pretty low. So I am holding on to it and I am adding a little bit, but I'm not incredibly bullish on it. If I ignore valuation, I think PanW is definitely the better company to pick out of Fortinet and PanW. PanW has bigger market share. It's just has better financials in general. It just seems like a better company. Next we have Tesla, which has also, I've been in the past very much up on Tesla, and now it's down. It's kind of a roller coaster. I think for Tesla, there is a lot of risk and it is very volatile, but I'm going to continue adding to it. I think that I talked about this before, but there is a bull case in which you can see Tesla becoming a ecosystem with cars and software. And the potential of that is just too high for me to ignore. I think it might be a low chance, but I am going to continue adding to Tesla, and the fact that it's trading down at least just means that I can average in at a lower DCA and get a better deal, hopefully. So I'm not too worried about Tesla, but yeah, it's just gonna be a wild ride. I think it's gonna trade up, it's gonna trade down a lot, and you just have to be prepared to have it go up a lot or have it go down a lot. And right now it's pretty down. I think it was up close to $500 maybe a month ago or something like that, and now it's in the negative. So yeah, not much has changed on my opinion on Tesla. I think its price just changes rapidly, but my bull case is still the same, my bear case is still the same. I've not really changed my opinion, even though the market has changed its opinion frequently on Tesla. Next we have Palantir. It's doing pretty good. I think it's traded down a little recently, but I'm still up on it 11%, and it's one where it's just too high a valuation for me to buy in more. It's just going to continue being this small position until I see it trade down a lot, or it really improves its financials. If it starts pumping out even more, a ton of free cash flow, then I'd consider buying in. But right now it's pretty speculative and I want to keep it a small position. Then we have Google. I think I'll talk about this one later because this is my smaller Google position, my Google position as opposed to GOOG position. So then we have Netflix. Netflix is one where short term it's kind of been trading down a little, and I'm happy because I get to add more. I'm trying to build out a position in Netflix. It's not going to be a huge position. It's probably going to be a medium-sized position, similar to I have a medium-sized position in Apple and something like Autodesk. But yeah, I think Netflix is doing well. I think hasn't traded up too much. I think it's at a decent valuation, and I kind of like it here. I don't think it's the best stock out there, but it's a solid one, and that's why I'm buying in. Next, we have CRISPR. I've talked about this one similarly to Moderna. It's kind of it's my biotech sort of diversification, and it's still just a small position, and it's up quite a bit right now comparatively. I think it's up 21%. It's doing well. I'm not going to add a ton. If it trades down a lot, I'll consider it, but just holding a small position is fine for now. Then we have Square. Square is also doing pretty good. It's very volatile. It's gone up a lot. It's gone down a lot recently, and I kind of want to add a little bit more to this. I'd like it to be sort of a mid-sized position at 1.5k, but I don't know. I don't know if now is the right time to buy into Square. So for now, I'll tentatively add into it. Maybe hopefully there's a time when it goes down and I can add in more to it. But yeah, for now, just keeping it as is. Then we have Apple. I'm really happy with my Apple position. I just like it around this level. I think it's a good medium-sized position in the portfolio. So I'm going to keep this the way it is and just slowly add to it as I add to the rest of the portfolio. I think Apple sort of very recently, it's traded up because of earnings, and I think that it's sort of kind of for a little while, for like a month, it was kind of pulling back in price, and I was adding to it a little bit because it seemed like the company was slowing down in terms of like growth. But now it seems like, at least from recent events, it seems like it might be back to growing, and that's good. That's what we like to see as Apple shareholders, and I think it's a really reliable company and I just want to own it, so that's why it's here. Next we have Nvidia, which similarly to Netflix is a position I'm building out. I'd like it to be either a mid or large size position in the portfolio. It's tough because it's always trading up, so there's not really a good time to ever buy into Nvidia, but I've tried to slowly sort of dollar cost average with the rest of the portfolio, and it's been performing pretty well, 28% gains, so I'm happy with it. I'd like to have it be bigger, but it's hard to buy in at these prices. And similar story for FICO. It's basically the same size as Nvidia, and I bought in at about the same time, so it's kind of like these are identical. They're all both up about 28.5%. And FICO is another company that's just, I really love the company like Nvidia, but it's hard to buy in because they're always trading up, at least recently. I kind of need another like bear market or dip in order to find a good time to buy into them because they trade up very quickly. But I like both these companies. Their valuations are super high, but if you sort of ignore the valuation a little bit and just think about, are these amazing companies and will they be better companies in the future? I'd answer yes, and I think that's why even if they have high valuations, I think they're just going to continue growing and they have a strong future ahead of them. And I think we should pay a little bit of a premium for amazing companies like FICO or Nvidia. So that's why I'm willing to ignore the valuations a little bit for these two. Next we have Cloudflare. This is, I really like cybersecurity, and this is a really sort of riskier but high upside sort of cybersecurity company. I think Cloudflare, I would love to start seeing them generating a lot of free cash flow. I think they're getting close to like positive EPS, but I don't think I can make this a bigger position until they get to the point where they like generate free cash flow positively. But for now, I think Cloudflare has been doing pretty well. They've been growing. They're just heading in the right direction, and they're getting to the point where they're starting to become a lot stronger of a company and getting to where I was hoping they'd get to. So they're on the right path. My position's kind of like a medium-sized position, and I think it started off as like a smaller position, so that's good to see that it's growing. It's up 23%, and yeah, I'd like to add to this one, but not right now because of the price. Then we have Autodesk. This is one of my favorite software companies that not really anyone talks about. I think it's a really strong company, and it just is a good medium-sized position in my portfolio. It's been up about 15%. It's just pretty consistent, and I don't know, I just really like this company. I don't think it's like going to grow at a crazy pace like Nvidia or FICO, but it's just a solid company that's going to grow steadily upwards, and I think it's a bit safer It is not like a big tech company though, so there is some risk with like it's like a less diversified company and less like amount of money and just market cap and stuff, so a little bit more risky, but that's why it's more of a medium-sized position and not a large position. But I really like Autodesk. I think right now though it's a little bit overvalued, so I'm not buying into it as much. I'm just slowly putting in money with the rest of the portfolio to it. Then we have Salesforce. This is a smaller position that's up a ton. It's up like 58%, and yeah, I kind of just can't add to this until it trades down. It's one I'd like to maybe make a medium-sized position, but not at these prices. I think that it's a really solid company, but I just only ever put a small amount of money into it, so yeah, I just wish I'd put more money in a while ago, but right now I'm not interested in adding a ton to Salesforce. I'm just going to keep it as a small position unless it trades down. Then we have Shopify. I really like how Shopify has been performing recently. It seems like it's been on the right track for about a year and a half now, and I really want to add more to this company. I've been adding a little bit to it, but it's tough because it hasn't been trading down. But I think that this is just a really strong company. I think that Shopify is probably like one of my I think I like it even more than Amazon, which is the next company. I think that it has a lot of growth potential, and it's also just really strong fundamentally, similarly to Amazon. And I mean, Amazon also struggles to make free cash flow, so it's not like I can, like, Shopify is a smaller company that doesn't make a ton of free cash flow, but Amazon also struggles with that. So I feel like, yeah, I prefer Shopify slightly above Amazon almost. And I'd like to get it to be a bigger size than Amazon in the portfolio. And maybe eventually it might grow into like a bigger position and be one of the main holdings in the portfolio, but we'll see. So yeah, then I already kind of talked about Amazon. Amazon's been doing good. I like it. It's a really strong company. It's kind of the same Amazon I bought into. I feel like it just is going to be solid and hopefully outperform the market, and that's why I own it. And I also am just bullish on like e-commerce. These are my two e-commerce picks. But yeah, I think I slightly prefer Shopify right now. Next we have Palo Alto, which I talked about a little bit, which is kind of just like a stronger, bigger, better version of Fortinet. It's probably, I think it's one of the biggest cybersecurity companies and one of like the most reliable ones. I wouldn't buy a ton into it right now though, because even it seems to be pulling away in terms of valuation from like Fortinet, and I don't want to really buy into it until it like closes that gap a little between it and Fortinet. Like, I'm just worried because Fortinet's a very similar company and it is traded down a lot, and PanW doesn't seem like it's trading down at all. So I'm scared that they'll sort of converge and PanW will drop and Fortinet will increase at some point. So for now, that's just a hold. Then we have Microsoft. This is just an amazing company. I've talked about Microsoft a ton, but it's probably the best company in the world, and I'm just going to keep holding it. Costco, I don't really buy into anymore. I don't think it really fits the portfolio, but I'm holding on to the position I have. And yeah, Google, CrowdStrike, Meta, all just amazing companies, and I love holding them in the portfolio. It's crazy that CrowdStrike has the gains it has, even though it's such a small position. But yeah, just holding on to these ones. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.